Mary, Queen of Scots is a 1971 historical drama film directed by Charles Jarrett and starring Vanessa Redgrave as Mary Stuart, Queen of Scots, and Glenda Jackson as Elizabeth I of England. This film concludes the so-called historical trilogy by British composer John Barry, which began with The Lion in Winter, starring Peter O'Toole as Henry II and Katharine Hepburn as Eleanor of Aquitaine, set in the 12th century, and continued with The Last Valley, and set during the 30 Years' War during the 17th century, and finally this film set in the 16th century. The Lion in Winter and Mary, Queen of Scots have in common that they deal with the confrontation between monarchs, marriage in the case of the medieval film, and distant kinship in the case of the two queens. About The Lion in Winter, for which Barry won the Oscar, I made a video in which I argued why I think it was a musical mistake to virtually ignore the character of Eleanor of Aquitaine and to give much more musical weight to the character of Henry II. In the case of Mary, Queen of Scots, there is also a clash between the queens, and there is also a clear musical imbalance between Mary, who has music for herself, and Elizabeth, who has none. But here, it works well because, unlike The Lion in Winter, where both monarchs are protagonists, the absolute protagonist is Mary, and Elizabeth is still an important but secondary character. There is music around Elizabeth, but it is from the world of power and her court. And some to highlight certain moments.
William! No forgeries. The evidence must stand up before the people in the Parliament.
But she has no central theme assigned to her, while Mary has not one but 5. It is a disparity that, as we will soon see, makes a lot of sense and works dramatically well. The fact that Mary has no less than 5 themes assigned to her, even though they are of different importance, may be confusing, but at the same time it helps to reduce her firmness, making her appear more fragile and vulnerable, as in this theme, which plays upon her farewell to France to go to Scotland.
Harry. Will you rule the Scottish lords? Or will they rule you?
I shall rule the Lords.
I wish you then, Queen Mary.
And which emphasizes an innocent, naive spirit.
Goodbye, dear France, goodbye.
In contrast, there is a strong and regal theme for her position as monarch and her court. It is the music of the power she holds. Which is in danger during the conspiracy, and which she tries to defend. Another royal and ceremonial theme is this one. It begins with Elizabeth, reappears during Maria's departure from France, and later during the flight from Scotland, to finally reach its destination, the meeting of the monarchs.
The animal.
It is the only musical theme that they share, but not as women, but as monarchs. The love theme is the most personal and intimate, arising from her approach to Lord Bothwell.
I am jealous.
Then you're foolish.
And it hatches with her falling in love. It is not a music of comfort and happiness, but of fragility and need.
Remember what you said to me. While you live, there is hope. Cling to that.
Exposing Mary at her most vulnerable. It is a simple, minimal theme that does not develop and, in fact, weakens her, especially here.
Lord Bothwell has died insane in a Danish prison.
I do repent of all my actions that have brought him to this terrible end.
Then will I hear your confession?
This dramatic restraint, which is not intensified by the music, brings rigor and removes melodrama. This is not a hagiographic movie that treats Queen Mary as a martyr. In fact, when she passes through the place where she is to be executed, there is aseptic, neutral music, and the execution scene is without music. The movie opens with a beautiful song, Live and Die, sung by Vanessa Redgrave, whose lyrics are taken from the last 6 lines of a sonnet attributed to the historical Mary Stuart. Attributed because it was found among the controversial letters from the chest used against her at her trial and addressed to Lord Bothwell. In its text, which the film preserves in 16th century French, it is a song of resignation to fate and acceptance of death. It is music that functions as a statement of purpose and intention. It is not part of Mary's feelings, but of her attitude, which is firm. Halfway through the movie, we see her singing it to her husband, who is recovering from syphilis. It was certainly unintentional, but there is a certain irony in the fact that it is sung here, since she and Bothwell have already decided on her murder, which will take place immediately afterwards.
If your head had matched your heart, I would be the one awaiting death.
In a macabre interpretation, the song on Elizabeth's face after Mary's beheading could be a bad omen, but that is certainly not the claim. And if the conclusion with an elevation of the camera, the song, and Mary herself on the Queen who won the political but not the musical duel.